No pressure then, no pressure. Like I wasn't feeling pressured enough already. You talk about Beatlemania, I feel slightly like I'm Herman and the Hermits having to go on after the Stones and the Beatles. My consolation is I have the most interesting shoes. Snakes. Thank you for that. I notice you like Snape. Just never give up hope, you people, do you? Anyway, I'm going to do a short reading from Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Short because, in my experience, my readers like me to answer questions and like me to hasten on to that part. So I'm going to take a few questions after I've done this reading. This concerns a part of the story where Harry goes back in time and watches as Albus Dumbledore, a younger Albus Dumbledore, goes to inform another famous pupil of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry that he has a place at the school. And you really shouldn't be cheering that particular one. Snape, I can kind of see, but anyway. They passed through a set of iron gates into a bare courtyard that fronted a rather grim square building surrounded by high railings. They mounted the few steps leading to the front door and knocked once. After a moment or two, the door was opened by a scruffy girl wearing an apron. Good afternoon. I have an appointment with a Mrs. Cole, who I believe is the matron here. Oh, said the bewildered-looking girl, taking in Dumbledore's eccentric appearance. Just a mo. Mrs. Cole, she bellowed over her shoulder. Harry heard a distant voice shouting something in response. The girl turned back to Dumbledore. Come in, she's on her way. Dumbledore stepped into a hallway tiled in black and white. The whole place was shabby but spotlessly clean. Harry and the older Dumbledore followed. Before the front door had closed, a skinny, harassed-looking woman came scurrying toward them. She had a sharp-featured face that appeared more anxious than unkind. Good afternoon, said Dumbledore, holding out his hand. Mrs. Cole simply gaped. My name is Albus Dumbledore. I sent you a letter requesting an appointment, and you very kindly invited me here today. Mrs. Cole blinked. Apparently deciding that Dumbledore was not a hallucination, she said feebly, Oh, yes, well then, you'd better come into my room, yes. She led Dumbledore into a small room that seemed part sitting room, part office. It was as shabby as the hallway, and the furniture was old and mismatched. She invited Dumbledore to sit on a rickety chair and seated herself behind a cluttered desk, eyeing him nervously. I am here, as I told you in my letter, to discuss Tom Riddle and arrangements for his future, said Dumbledore. Are you family? Asked Mrs. Cole. No, I am a teacher, said Dumbledore. I have come to offer Tom a place at my school. What school's this, then? It's called Hogwarts, said Dumbledore. And how come you're interested in Tom? We believe he has qualities we are looking for. You mean he's won a scholarship? How can he have done? He's never been entered for one. Well, his name has been down for our school since birth. Who registered him? His parents? There was no doubt that Mrs. Cole was an inconveniently sharp woman. Apparently Dumbledore thought so too, for Harry now saw him slip his wand out of the pocket of his velvet suit, at the same time picking up a piece of perfectly blank paper from Mrs. Cole's desktop. Here, said Dumbledore, waving his wand once as he passed her the piece of paper. I think this will make everything clear. Mrs. Cole's eyes slid out of focus and back again as she gazed intently at the blank paper. That seems perfectly in order, she said placidly, handing it back. Then her eyes fell upon a bottle of gin and 2 glasses that had certainly not been present a few seconds previously. May I offer you a glass of gin? She said in an extra refined voice. Thank you very much, said Dumbledore, beaming. It soon became clear that Mrs. Cole was no novice when it came to gin drinking. Pouring both of them a generous measure, she drained her own glass in one gulp. Smacking her lips frankly, she smiled at Dumbledore for the first time, and he did not hesitate to press his advantage. I was wondering whether you could tell me anything of Tom Riddle's history. I think he was born here in the orphanage. "That's right," said Mrs. Cole, helping herself to more gin. "I remember it clear as anything, because I'd just started here myself. New Year's Eve and bitter cold, snowing, you know, nasty night. And this girl, not much older than I was myself at the time, comes staggering up the front steps. Well, she wasn't the first. We took her in, and she had the baby within the hour, and she was dead in another hour."